Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown, Notre Dame!
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, WeAreNDNation.com.
We are ND Nation! Go Irish!
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the We Are ND Nation podcast. Mr. Malik Zaire, former Notre Dame quarterback, Evan J. Thomas with you here. This is episode number 9 of our podcast, and we actually now talk about a Notre Dame loss. So our first one of the year, we have the rundown about now. So Notre Dame, number 14 currently, lost 24-13 to number 7 Cincinnati. We have quarterback issues, which we've already had, but it's even worse now. An offensive line, or as I call it, an offensive line. Are they the problem? And then is that also the problem for our lackluster running game? I'm thinking it is. Yeah. So let's start. Malik, what were your first thoughts on Cincinnati basically outplaying Notre Dame in every facet of the game Saturday?
Man, it's a little demoralizing considering, a team like Cincinnati, we're slated to, win. And obviously I think that we have more talent if you had to look on paper and say, who would you pick between the two players? I think we would be staying on top of that. But, for a coach to have such a legendary record and get beat by a school that he should most likely beat, even though they're ranked, it's tough to watch. But then when you watch the game and watch in more detail and see how frustrating it is for us to do the things that we're supposed to with the players that we have, it kind of puts us as a fan, it's like, man, everybody feels like they have a suggestion and opinion on what could be better.
Yeah, don't be following any of those Notre Dame chat rooms after a loss. Oh my God!
And they eviscerate the team. But
everybody needs to be fired. They need to not, put in the rookie, the freshman. It's like, you do know losses happen in sports, right? Okay.
And we're just a fortunate fan base to be able to have a guy that can get you 9-10 wins a season, because it's hard to win in college football. And Saturday just proved that even further, that you can lose. Anybody can win, anybody can lose. And in a ranked game like that, our seasons come down to games like Saturday, whereas we're playing a top 10 team. This could determine our whole season, like a Georgia, like a Clemson from last year, regular season. This was that game for us, and it's hard because we're not playing for a conference championship, and we knew this was a transitional year, but the offense is looking like it was the last 3 or 4 years, where it could stagnate at times and not putting up the numbers with the type of talent that we have. Defensively, unfortunately, it makes us look worse on defense because we are on the field a lot, and you would think that we're giving up more points, but holding a Cincinnati team of 24 points is really good.
Yeah.
It's just when you don't score points to match that, it makes your defense looks a lot worse. So, so many narratives in the game. Coach Kelly's old school, Marcus Freeman's old school, and all the guys they have over there that are good relationships, like Denbrock with Coach Kelly. It was a narrative-filled game, sort of like the Patriots and the Bucks, but unfortunately, we didn't come out with a victory.
And the way I look at it, it was basically a microcosm from the first half of the Wisconsin game. It was the same stagnant offense all the way through the first half. You brought in Pine after halftime. Boom, you had a little bit of a spark, but then Pine kind of, he kind of faltered a little bit. I mean, looking at Pine's numbers, 9 of 22 for 143. I mean, that's 40%. That's crap.
That's what we expected from Drew Pine. That's why he was a 1C quarterback. We wasn't expected to lean on him this season anyway. So I know Wisconsin, he had a good showing, but that's when he was unexpected. Nobody thought he was getting the game You're the 3 deep quarterback. We can adjust on the fly, but now you got a week of film. They seen what you do, like, don't like in a short amount of time. They prepare for it, and he looks average, like we assumed. So it's going to be a struggle because Coach Kelly is just so indecisive. And that hurts the team. And to be paid the millions of dollars that you do, that's the one decision as a head coach you have to make, and he just makes it difficult every year.
And I'm not going to be that person to be like, hey, we got to fire the offensive coordinator or Brian Kelly because of one loss. I'm going to put the credit on Cincinnati and how they played, because friggin' Desmond Ridder, man, that kid's got the moxie for the next level for NFL. Apparently he could have came out last year, would have been late round, probably 5th or 6th. But this year, now that he's going to come out, he might be a top 3 round quarterback. He's not going to be a first rounder, I don't think, at all. But you never know. But man, that kid has talent, and he just stood there and took it. So
yeah, I mean, he definitely outplayed us, and he was talking all week about it, and he backed it up. And you got to give a lot of credit to a guy that can foretell a game like that, especially in the environment that he was in. But we're a couple throws away from losing to Purdue and Toledo the same way. So whenever we play a good team that's not afraid of us, they usually end up edging out and not making those mistakes that teams usually do playing us at Notre Dame.
So I know we're 4-1, and we do have Virginia Tech coming up, but I want to just talk about the offensive line a little bit. We obviously know they've been struggling. They've been off and on their 3rd and their 4th left tackle. The original starter, I think, came back and then ended up leaving halfway through the game, so he's out. And I mean, we had 28 carries for 84 yards again, and Kyron Williams 13 carries, 45 yards. It's like he can't get going because it seems like they're stacking the box, because Cohen's not really doing anything either. I mean, at least since the Florida State game, he's been, like you've even said the past few weeks, kind of just average and just middling around in terms of its overall stats.
Yeah, I mean, I would put that on recruiting. I think that we knew he wasn't getting a 5-star transfer anyway. So the expectations that I think the fan base had put on Jack coming from Wisconsin was more than what he probably deserved. And this is probably the Jack that we'll have all season, just a middle of the road guy, a guy that can keep the boats arise. But the unfortunate part is that we have a team that needs a spark plug at that position, and that's just not him. So it's going to reflect on everybody around him, including the offensive line, that is going to have a struggle because they're protecting the statue, and guys with inexperience got other teams' defense pin their ears back and just flying upfield because we're in a tight game, because we're down, because we're not pushing the ball down the field. These teams are playing super aggressive. And so you playing super aggressive, you're keeping Jack rattled, and that makes it hard on the run game when you can't throw it over their head. You're locked in a tough situation. You're very one-dimensional, and teams start doing all type of stuff, So for us, we put ourselves in that position of not recruiting at that quarterback position like we should. We're a top 10 team every year, and we're getting 5'11" quarterbacks out of Massachusetts. That's not the landscape of where college football is headed. I mean, look at Alabama. Alabama got a kid from California.
Yeah.
They're coming back from California. Like, come on. They're trying to get a quarterback it has an it factor, and we're trying to do the opposite. And it shows when we need a quarterback in those moments. And until we decide that we need to do that, all this other recruiting that we're doing, it doesn't matter because we can't get the ball to them, or they can't get an opportunity to show what they're really made of.
And just to point out some of Cohen's stats, he was 14 of 22, 114 yards, 1 touchdown. We did have a Tyler Buckner sighting, but wasn't good at all. He threw 1 interception on one of his 2 passes, 8 rushing yards. And I swear when he came in, it was, he's running. Why else is he in there? He's not throwing the ball. And when he does throw the ball, boom, interception. They need to do something with these 3 quarterbacks. And I'm not sure where to go with this. I'm going to say start Pine, but what are you going to do?
Unfortunately,
senior?
Coach Kelly let the problem go on way too long. He opened the Pandora's box by putting Tyler in there unnecessarily, in my opinion, in the second game. I mean, we were going to win it regardless, but you go in there, you give him 3 plays against a defense that wasn't ready for him once again. He goes in there and has successful little run plays, but it wasn't anything to develop Tyler, and it wasn't anything to sustain an offense. It was just like running a wildcat package that was random and one off. It wasn't anything related to the actual offense, so Tyler doesn't get a full experience being in the game. And so it's like a gimmick. It's like the gimmick ran out. It's week 6 and there are no more gimmicks. It's too much film to just try to surprise teams with random quarterback plays. Unfortunately, you got your quarterback hurt doing that early with a hamstring injury, which is insane that you're getting your quarterback a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's desperate play calling and terrible game plan creation. And then what do you want to do? I mean, at this point, you got an O-line that has listening to 3 voices. Y'all don't have a game plan on how you want to put your quarterbacks in. You got too many quarterbacks you want to play, and it just confuses the fan base. You got 3 guys they want to choose from, and they all are not helping themselves, and they definitely make the calls a lot harder. Tommy Reese is looking at 3 different guys with 3 different styles, 3 different types of plays they like, and it's just not enough practice time in the week to even get any of them ready if you're going to play all 3 of them.
So
it's terrible botch job.
If you were in charge right now, what would your solution at quarterback be?
Well, right now, considering I don't believe that we're playoff team ready.
Well, we have no other games against ranked teams, at least right now, for the rest of the season. So,
which is, shoot, we dropped how many spots? That's a lot of spots to drop after one game.
5.
Yeah, 5 or 6. So if I was the head coach, I'm going younger.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go Tyler and ride it out to the end to the wheels fall off. And if it gets close towards the end and I feel like Tyler is overwhelmed, I'm putting Jack in there. I mentioned this earlier. It's the same routine that Purdue did, where they played the younger guy until they couldn't play him no more. They threw the 5th-year experienced guy in, and he went in there and did his thing. So I think Jack is more accustomed to being ready for situations like that. He's clearly not a full-time quarterback type of guy anyway, but with the experience that he has and where he's been and what he's done and what he's shown so far in flashes, he'll be good to save the team from on a 2-minute drive or going right into the half. That's his thing. But develop the young guys around you. This is a transition year like we thought. It's only transition because we don't have an established quarterback. Put the young guy you're going to have for years in there with the most talent and just rock with it. That's going to open up the running game a lot more, which is the strength of the football team. It's going to lessen the impact on the O-line they have to be protecting all these crazy 3rd and longs. And you're going to have the defense have to play on their toes a little more with another threat that can run the football. And Tyler can throw the football. That's why he was a 5-star guy in high school. Coach Kelly just terrible development of allowing him to show he can throw the football by trying to baby feed him when he's better than the guys talent-wise that we got right now. So just a terrible misunderstanding of talent at your quarterback position, and to be the head coach responsible for that just shows why we still don't have a national championship yet.
And the way I'm looking at it with both Pine and Buckner, so it seems like Pine has a more open playbook when he comes in compared to Buckner. And like you just said, Buckner has more talent. So why is he given the Tim Tebow, freshman, basically the playbook, when it's like, hey, let's run up the middle on a draw, which to me doesn't even make sense, especially when you have a shoddy offensive line to begin with and you can't run. So you're going to take your quarterback and you're going to drop them back, sit there for 3 seconds, and then you're going to run right up the gut and get nothing. So it just seems like you said, with Tyler Buckner's just skill set, that he should be the same playbook as Pine, but we have yet.
Especially as Pine. I mean, good grief, this guy's a third string backup.
Yeah.
And he's got a more available ability in the playbook than the guy that has the best chance to get us at least more points on the scoreboard each and every week. It just is like almost, if they think of him as a Taysom Hill, he might as well play punt and kickoff return. And because just the mere ineptness of being able to formulate a good game plan with plays that he can be successful with. And at this point, week 7 in the season, I don't know why y'all just not opening it up for him. It's not, if he can't learn enough by now, I mean, shoot, you might as well not even put him in there to begin with.
Yeah, exactly.
So it doesn't help the defense. I know it frustrates the defense because you're getting a lot more 3 and outs when you're just disgruntled and just throwing guys in there to do anything. And if you're throwing Tyler Buckner in there to be the spark plug, then what's that saying about the guy you're starting every game with? You're just starting flat. It just tells me you want to start flat on purpose, shake it up with a terrible 3-play package for Tyler Buckner.
Mm-hmm.
And then all else fails, you go over to Drew, and Drew's just not in a position to be successful himself when he knows he's not starting each and every week, but he has to be ready. But then, it's hard to play in that type of position.
And looking at Drew Pine, that kid shows emotion, which is good, which is something that, to me, Cohen really doesn't. He seems more of the professional. Pine seems more of, the fun, ready to go. Hey, I'm ready to go. And then you have Buckner, who's almost like he just seems like he's a deer in headlights, but he also looks confused, probably because of what he's been given in terms of the offensive plays. So
yeah, when they strand you out there and they give you these looks against loaded boxes and obvious pressured looks, they're basically saying, look, we don't have nothing else, so we want you to just make a play being athletic. And he looks like a chicken with his head cut off, because
it's like backyard football.
It's not like he's a fluid runner. He's a good runner, but he looks like he's giving everything he's got running the football, and that's not a recipe for success if he's that type of runner. Lamar Jackson makes it look easy. Kyler Murray makes running around look easy. Tyler Buckner does not make him looking around running. He just doesn't make it look like it's a part of his game naturally. So he looks out of position, and that's probably why I got a hamstring injury. He's probably ran more in college as a quarterback than he ever did in high school, which is confusing, because what's the point of getting a 5-star guy that can throw and run, and we use him like a 2-star special teams player that we ran out of guys to put in there? He just happens to be the most athletic quarterback on the team.
Yeah.
It's a shame, because for Coach Kelly to be there so long and all the success that he's had, this is his biggest kryptonite, and it's even worse that he's coaching the position. He's responsible for this. So I know Tommy Rees is pulling his hair out trying to find what he can call for 3 different quarterbacks in one game. I think that's a challenge for any offensive coordinator. But with the rest of the games we have this season, like I said, it doesn't get any easier, especially if we're doing that on offense. It's going to put more stress on the defense and Marcus Freeman. But having a young team, the best thing I would do is just go younger. Put all the young guys in, take our lumps in a year we're considering a transition year. But the next year will be 30 times better. It'll be 30 times better for us.
And so if you were to pick the depth chart for quarterback, would you then put Buckner first, Cohen second, and Pine third? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if you're getting that deep, I'll try any of them out. Paulus, Brandon Clark. It's not like Drew Pine is locking down a third spot. I mean, he's 5'11", 85 maybe.
Is he that small?
At least okay. Brandon Clark a little bit bigger of a body, man. I know he's hurt or whatever the case is, but you look on our roster, everybody looks the same. So it's not like Brandon couldn't be the backup. I think that's kind of how they've recruited these ever since Brandon. So I guess the model was to get guys like Ian, but Ian had 15 touchdowns his senior year. So that's just saying what it looks like on our offense, even with a guy that's the most winningest quarterback in Irish history.
And luckily, we did have one bright spot, but it also kind of hampered the end of the game. Tight end Michael Mayer, 8 catches, 93 yards. Man, that guy got
50 catches a game.
And how many targets did he have? I mean, there was a bunch of drop balls by the wide receivers. I think Mayer dropped another 1 or 2. But the fact that he came up gimpy at the end of that game and then even went back in there and tried to do that, he made that 4th down play and was like limping down the field and still caught the ball. I mean, that dude just, to me, he's just a gamer and a baller, man. It's like tough ass dude for sure.
Yeah, we love Michael Mayer, man. I think having another consistent threat, not that we got threats on our team, but we don't have a consistent threat that's going to open up, Michael Mayer against the bracket and double, triple coverages he's facing each and every week. I would have thought Avery Davis would have been a huge compliment. And Brendan Lindsay would be a huge compliment. Even Kevin Austin would be a huge compliment to open up Michael Mayer. It's just, I think it's hard to get in the game plan to use other guys when you're trying to figure out who you want to run the show.
Well, another thing too, I've also, and I think I mentioned this last week, there's not been many like swing passes or screens to Kyron Williams or even Tyree. And those two guys, I mean, they got the speed in the hands to do it.
Yeah, it's when you got so much, you don't know what to do. And that's just kind of what our offense looks like. And it's been looking like that for a while. It hasn't been a clear, concise, okay, I see all the potential, but what do y'all actually want? Like, do y'all want to be a 2-back running back system where we're running play action? Do you want to do some quarterback run and have a strong run game and have the guys matchups on the outside with Kevin and taking some shots deep? Or are you just going to have a Tommy-based offense where it's going to be a lot of creative plays and tons of guys going to catch the football? But when you look at the stats, everybody got like 3 catches for 40 yards. So nobody really stands out. And so, it goes back to identity. What does Coach Kelly want to do? He gets in the press conference. You leave out of the press conference more confused than going in. He's giving you a bunch of parables and a bunch of Chinese fortune cookie messages. And
as we call it in the business, word salad.
Yeah, a bunch of word salad, but you're still hungry after. So I think, he should take a more concise role as a head coach and a play caller, man. I mean, look at Nick Saban. If Nick Saban happens to lose, he knows exactly what it is and what they didn't do right. And
wait, Alabama loses?
Yeah, and the rarity that they do.
Oh, okay.
Even Dabo, they haven't been having a terrific season like
they already have 2 losses or 3 losses now.
But but Dabo will tell you what's wrong. Tell you what's going on, and what's happening, and it's just it's like, man, nobody can put their finger on it, and that's why it's just frustrating to watch each and every.
And really the only other thing to talk about the game is the defense. To me, the defense wasn't their fault for losing the game. Desmond Ridder, like I said, amazing performance, 19 for 33, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, really actually did have a few deep passes that were underthrown that were misplayed by the defense.
Yeah, he made Kyle look kind of silly, but
on one of them, but I think he made Cam Hart look bad on one of them too. So
yeah, and Cam Hart, I mean, hey, he's still transitioning from receiver. He's been making plays all year, and he's been getting tried all year.
Exactly.
Every year, every game they're trying him. So he's gonna be a player in the next year or two that's gonna be dominant. It's because he's getting all his action.
All right, so we done talking about the Cincinnati game?
Hopefully.
Okay. I'm going to transition on. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, we'll be talking about, obviously, the Virginia Tech game. But before we do that, Malik, are you ready for this week's Name That Former ND Player?
Let's go. I'm
All right, so you got a 2-player winning streak. So let's see if we can make it 3. I might be giving you a alley-oop on this one, so I hope I'm not. So here's the stats. Former Notre Dame quarterback. Played from 2003 to 2006. Total of 48 games played. Let's just go with the yardage. 11,762 yards, 95 touchdowns, 39 interceptions, and 134 passer rating. Did I just alley-oop that one to you? Is it Lob City?
He's Little Lob City.
Is it Lob City? Did I just give you that one?
Now, I believe I know who it is, but then I don't want to say against it and be mad that I missed it. But I'm 95% sure.
Go with your first gut. Never go against your gut. I mean, I should because I had the heart attack, but never go against the gut.
Did you eat something? Did you happen to eat something that maybe like a nice juicy burger or something that maybe you just
I rarely eat fast food, so it wasn't that.
It's scary because it's like you need an answer almost. Like what was or it just kind of just happens.
It's been building and building, man. That's what happens when the heart attacks come up. But so there are the stats for Malik. We are going to go to break. We will be right back to reveal. Name that former ND player. Stick right here on the one and only We Are ND Nation podcast. Malik Zaire, Evan J. Thomas. We'll be right back.
Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown Notre Dame!
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, WeAreNDNation.com.
We are ND Nation. Go Irish!
Back on the We Are ND Nation podcast, Evan J. Thomas, former quarterback Malik Zaire, and we're going to be talking about the Virginia Tech game. Why did I put Virginia? No, it's Virginia Tech.
Virginia.
The Hokies. It's listed right on my sheet right here. So before we do that, we're going to get into name that former ND player. Before the little break, I gave Malik the stats, but I'm going to do it again. So let's start it. Former Notre Dame quarterback, played from 2003 to 2006. Played in, actually, I think I said 48 games. He played in 49 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that might change a little bit. Yardage for his career, 11,762. He had 95 touchdowns, 39 interceptions, and a rating of 134.4. Malik, can you name that Notre Dame player?
Drew Pine's favorite player, Brady Quinn.
Bingo. 3 for 3. I told you it was an alley-oop.
You can't miss a Brady Quinn one.
Nah, especially the years is what gives that one away. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
When you say 2003 to 2006 and you say 95 touchdowns in 48 games, I mean, Jesus. Before Ian, he was the man there for a long time. So that
he was doing his thing, that's for sure. Brady Quinn, shout out. Hey, he looks good on TV every weekend too.
Dude, who does his suits?
He got a guy.
He's got a guy, and his guy is awesome because holy shit, Brady Quinn is just, he's a stud. What can you say? Nothing more than that. Yeah. I just feel bad that he has to sit up on that table with Leinart and Bush.
New USC guys? Yeah, what the heck with Reggie
and Bob Leinart? Stoops? I get Stoops, but come on, Leinart and Bush?
And he's sitting in between, right? He's like in between them, like, I don't know.
Is it between or is it the other guy? I think Leinart and Bush sit next to each other.
It's just too close. Let's just feel like that. Too close.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's almost like the Bush push is happening again right in front of our face when that
that's what I'm saying. Crazy.
You believe that 16 years ago?
Hey man, time's flying out here in college.
You were like 6 when that happened or something, weren't you?
Yeah, before football was important. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what we can expect this weekend from the Virginia Tech game. So we're actually going away for the first time in a few weeks. Well, I guess the Soldier Field game was an away game, but it's only an hour and a half.
I don't even think we flew to that game. We probably
you busted. You easily busted. Why would you fly? It's stupid. So
I don't know. Coach Kelly just traveled.
And I don't know what time the kickoff is Saturday. I couldn't find it anywhere. So I'm figuring it's like 2:30 or 1:30 or something like that.
Hopefully it's not a night game.
And also, is it on NBC or not? Because since it's not a home game, this could be an ABC or an ESPN game.
Probably.
Okay.
When's the last time I played on ABC? It's probably been a minute.
Well, we'll have to look that up, but I don't have that information right now, but I can look that up. All right. So Cincinnati. Cincinnati again. I want to stop talking about Cincinnati. Virginia Tech is averaging 25.5 points per game. So compared to the Cincinnati game, Virginia Tech has no offense compared to what Cincinnati has.
Yeah.
Virginia Tech is averaging 331 yards per game, 140 rushing yards per game. They have junior quarterback Braxton Burmeister at 61%, completion percentage, 746 total yards on the year, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. He has been sacked 10 times in 4 games. So hopefully we can get some kind of pass rush on that offensive line. So what are you expecting from this game coming up this week?
Man, I think can't look at the numbers because the numbers are going to fool us.
I'm going to look at the numbers, though. That's what I do.
Virginia Tech is going to play better than what they're looking like on
film. Oh, sure, yeah.
They're going to play – the quarterback's going to play better than what he's putting out on the stat sheet. The fact that it's away, and we did all right. You know, that Florida State game away in a tough environment proved that we got some nads about us. I think defensively we'll have a great showing and we'll keep points low on their end. It all comes down to, are we going to be consistent on offense and just roll with the guy that we got the first time? I do think if we just let Jack ride this one out, we should win by 2+ touchdowns, probably 17. We should win by 17. But if we go in there with the same foolishness, we're gonna let this team hang around. The stadium's gonna come down on us, and it's gonna be a pressure-filled situation when it doesn't have to be. So for us, we need to just play clear, concise, and simple. Defensively, I'm not worried about it. I don't think they have enough explosive playmakers or at least enough to affect number 14, which is our guy. But if we let the defense get on the field for 90 plays because we're 3 and out, we switching guys in and out, we ain't getting nothing explosive downfield, they'll hang around and make it a closer game than it needs to. So it could be like a Toledo game for us, where we're going back and forth over a team we should be beating. Or we can step up to the plate and go a one-man system like Florida State, come out with a good victory.
So are you expecting Cohen to start, or are we going to hopefully see Buckner as a starter? What do you think Kelly's going to do?
I think it's too late in the season to just roll with Buckner the whole time, only because they haven't developed him at all.
Yeah.
And he's been hurt. So I wouldn't want to do that to a kid's psyche, just throw him in the ring of fire and not support him. It is clear they haven't supported him all year because he had a hamstring injury, number one. Number two, for him to be a 5-star quarterback and have an unbelievable arm talent, and you're sacrificing the playbook to limit it to 5-6 plays when you're letting Drew Pine run the whole thing, just shows that you don't have confidence in him. And so I don't think we should put him in a terrible environment like that and not support it. So Jack Cohn, I mean, he's the best thing to get us through a season like this from his experience and from what he's been able to show. And Coach Kelly just has to have some loyalty for once, and just rock with the guy you done convinced to come.
Ride him out till he's done, man.
Ride him out till he's done, because everybody else that you plugging in, they're not prepared, because if they were, Jack probably wouldn't have been there. So you already showed that you didn't have confidence in them before the season even started. Then you get the kid and you show you ain't having enough confidence in him, aside from him getting banged up here and there. So you got a lot of mistrust in that room, and it's probably making it hard for Tommy to be consistent. So the best thing to save the situation is let Jack go in there and rock out.
And some of the names that you'll hear during this week's broadcast, and I just looked up the time for Saturday. It says it's a 6:30 Central Time game on the ACC network.
That game.
So we'll see if that's anywhere else. I'm hoping it's somewhere else because I don't think I have the ACC network. So
it's such a regional thing to be playing on.
Yeah, and what sucks is I'm going to be in Cleveland, so it's like I doubt they're going to have the ACC network anywhere there. So great, I'll get to look at it on my phone and see the freaking stats as they go. So
get you to a Buffalo Wild Wings or something, man.
there you go. Go to the local bar and hopefully there's no do Cleveland even have a college football team up there? I don't even know if they do.
All right, listen, Cleveland got a lot of great things in Ohio, man. You got to give us some hope.
Well, they're farther south. Columbus is different, obviously. It's different. I guess, Ohio State's their team. They really don't have a Cleveland team, though, compared to, like, other cities. So,
yeah, anyway. we just stick with the professional leagues. Like, the Browns going to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns to the Super Bowl after the show, too. So there you go.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, come on. That old joke has to be thrown in there whenever you say the Browns are going to the Super Bowl.
But they're good this year, though.
They are. All right. I don't want to even talk about the Browns because, they played the Bears and they looked amazing, but the Bears suck. And I'm not a Bears fan. Being from Chicago, I loved watching that game. So, to me, that Myles Garrett, holy shit, that kid's amazing. But all right, so like I was saying, some of the names you're going to hear this weekend on the Virginia Tech side, you're going to hear running back Jalen Holston. He has 159 yards on the season, one touchdown. Running back Raheem Blackshear. They basically have almost the same stats, except Blackshear has 3 touchdowns. Wide receiver Trey Turner has 250 yards receiving on the year, 1 touchdown. Wide receiver Travion Robinson, 166 yards from the air, and then 2 touchdowns as well. So I don't think our DBs are going to have any real issues with these guys. They might get lucky again on like a long pass, but that's about it.
Yeah, this is a very pedestrian offense, something that'll be good for Marcus Freeman to scheme some good blitzes up, get some good highlights with 14 in there. This is a good game for our guys that are looking to go on to the next level to have a fantastic showing. And defensively, like I said, I'm not really worried. I think if anything, Cam Hart makes some plays this weekend. We get our Drew White back in there, JB Bertrand, get him coming downhill a little bit more. So I'm expecting some exciting plays to come from defense this week. Okay.
Are we ready to go with our predictions?
Let's get it.
Mine just changed literally about 3 seconds ago. Uh-oh. So after you said the pedestrian offense, I'm like, you know what they do? And then just knowing what Cincinnati's putting up and knowing what Notre Dame has actually done on defense. Their defense has been pretty damn good. So it's not like you said, Cincinnati was averaging 43 points a game, 45. We held them to 24. So, we split it in half. So my prediction this weekend with Notre Dame is Notre Dame will win. I have it now at 33-13. Originally, I had 27-24. But I think, like you said, this is a game that now looking at it, it's a statement game for us after coming off that loss, because if we come out again looking like we did in the first half against Wisconsin or at all last week, there's going to be it's going to happen if they lose.
It's going to happen. We're going to come out slow. I promise you. It's going to be slow.
You think so? Okay.
But Jack's not a it factor guy. If the play calling is not just amazing like it was Florida State, where it just everything looked open, we're getting a guy that's a Big Ten average guy, not a strong arm. He's got a good poker face, but everything has to click around him for him to really do his thing. So if it's going to be slow at first, because I think he's a little mentally, locked up. You're dealing with the mastermind and BK every day, and you're not knowing how long you're going to be in the game. And, that wears on a fifth-year guy who put a lot of trust in coming over here to be losing his job to a third backup and a true freshman. So I think it'd be important for him to have his best game this week if we want to put up a lot of points. So I got us at 24-12, winning the game.
4-12. Okay, so you were close to my original one, but
Mhm.
I spread it out a little bit more. The one thing I noticed that Cohen needs to really stop doing is being the turtle when the rush is coming at him.
Oh
Because
yeah, he knows this. Yeah, he know he ain't going nowhere. But so that's what I'm saying. It's like he's a sitting statue.
sitting duck. He doesn't know. He's not good at stepping up into the pocket. He's not good at going left or right just to kind of toss it. But
This
unlike
goes back to the recruiting. It's like we're Notre Dame, and this is a guy you recruited that can't get away from the rush, can't throw the ball down the field, can't really extend the play. Like, what was the? Oh yeah, we gotta grab him. I think he's better than Mertz, but
well,
you got
now
to think.
looking at it, yes, he is. But still.
All the quarterbacks that were available in this offseason in the transfer portal and just in general, I mean, good grief, the recruiting for like who was responsible for that? That's who needs to be dealt with. Who was responsible single-handedly calling Jack and being like, you're the answer we need this year? That's where the conversation should start. And once we understand that, we'll know why all our roster looks the same. We don't shoot for the 5-star guys out there. So hopefully Dante Moore, out of Michigan, a recruit that has been on our radar, is interested. And then we got Kid, stays 10 minutes down the street from me, and that goes to Warren, 6'6" kid, quarterback that's pretty good with some interest in Notre Dame. So those are some potential fire starters that could change the landscape of our offense. But, it's just interesting how we recruit at quarterback.
Yeah, and it's funny how you say that. How is Cohen recruited? Because if you kind of look at him at the beginning, before the season, before they even brought him in, it's like, hey, let's go with this fifth-year senior who hasn't played in a year, who's injured or was injured, and he'll be our starter for this year, and we'll see what we can do to bring them along. Like you said, there were so many guys out there that were healthy, that were wanting to play, and you kind of didn't really know that they were just going to be, a standing duck in the pocket. But that's basically.
Did you not know we couldn't? Could we? And that's something. Could we not get a top quarterback? Do top quarterbacks not want to come to Notre Dame? Because that has to be asked at this point too. Because I mean, even going back to Ian was a 3-star recruit. And at that time, we're coming off of playing Ohio State, playing in all these big playoff situations and having an all-star studded team. Our first recruit was Ian Book.
All right, I'm gonna say something funny here, and hopefully it doesn't offend Notre Dame fans, but we can always bring back Charlie Weiss and bring back the limos for Jimmy Clausen. We can always do that.
And but at least Jimmy, it wasn't everything we expected that was worth a limo drive, but Jimmy had enough to at least get the fans excited to know, okay, we can win some games, and he's a talent that can play in the NFL. We're recruiting guys that aren't even NFL talented right now. Like Brandon Clark's not an NFL guy necessarily. Drew Pine, from a stature size, not necessarily. Even Ian Book, as well as he played, he got drafted, fourth round?
Fourth or fifth, yeah.
That's just from a size standpoint. If Ian was like 6'5", Brady Quinn size, yeah, he probably been a first-round pick. But it's like there's guys out there like that, and we just seem to get the unique guys. I feel like that
unique, the ones that don't play well. So there you go.
So we'll figure it out. But there is some good coming from the excitement of knowing we got guys, we got players, we got a Michael Mayer. That's a first-round generation.
We have talent. We have talent on both sides of the ball. So
yeah, so it's not like we're just a depleted team. We're just a team that's overly talented, that's missing the right general, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and speaking of general, it's not like we're going to be talking about firing Brian Kelly or Tommy Rees.
No,
we know what this means. It's just bring it all together. I'll bring it all.
Get the right recruit.
Bring it all together.
One recruit, we're good.
Oh shit! What a week, though. I mean, just some of these Facebook groups and chat groups.
All the answers, man. They got all the answers.
My God, I it's so funny. Like the sky is falling and everything like that. It's like watching Chicago and social media when the Bears lose. It's like, fire everybody, F this guy, get this guy out of
They
here.
don't give us any good answers. If you watch those press conferences, the answers don't give us the confidence that we should be like, oh yeah, we
It's
got
lip service. It's word salad. They have to say what is the usual, the kind of, bring people down. But then, like you just said, it makes people like, I could do this better. Okay. Well,
yeah, I can suggest this better. Yeah, like
armchair coaches, man. That's what the world. This is what sports talk radio and podcasts are for. Is for people like us to talk shit about other teams. So there you go.
That's right. And
Or talk good. We don't always talk shit. We talk good too.
I think we'll be fine. That's the craziest part about it. I think we'll be fine and get through the season. Cincinnati was just the obvious. We're playing a good team that has a better quarterback, and that's not afraid. And that's our whole thing. Most of these quarterbacks get too hype in the moment, playing in front of touchdown Jesus and seeing the green and the gold helmets. That's a lot for a guy to take in.
Yeah.
And Desmond said it in the beginning of the week. He said, "I ain't scared," and he proved it. So we gotta bounce back.
All right, so I'm looking at what I picked at the beginning of the season for the overall record. Well, I think I picked Notre Dame 11-1. Oh,
I got us 9-3. I knew we would.
So my one loss is actually coming this week, is what I originally had. Obviously, my stats have changed in terms of that. Shocking that I didn't pick Cincinnati last week, but then again, playing at home, you never thought they would lose, but they did. But yeah, this is the week I picked at the beginning of the season that Notre Dame would lose because of the Cincinnati game in the lull. But no, I think they're going to come back. So hopefully I'm still on track, which I am. One more loss, I'm done with my season picks.
I didn't have us as a playoff team this year, so I had those.
Not at 9-3, you couldn't be.
Yeah, I mean, I think 9-3 is a good transition year for what.
Yeah, that's a great transition year.
And I think the fan base should be okay with that. I think we're making suggestions as if we're trying to make a run to beat Bama at the end. I don't think that's the case.
Nobody's going to beat Bama. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let our that's what I said. Let our young guys figure this season out, get some wins in the season against some tough competition, and then next year we can make another run.
There you go.
We keep playing games, it's gonna be tough. But 9-3 is what I got, and we're on track.
All right. I think we're done. We good?
Yeah,
we're
good.
So
victory this week, baby.
Yes, victory. What is it? Sunday coming up, hopefully this coming week, after the later Notre Dame versus Virginia Tech game. As I'm reading here on the ESPN website, it says 6:30 p.m. on the ACC network. I hope there's somewhere else where we could watch it because I definitely at least need to see some of it. So make sure you're following Malik all over his socials. It was Malik 8, Malik Zaire 8.
Overtime Malik, anything, just holler at your boy.
Holler at your boy there. Follow his food pictures. Stop it with the ramen, dude.
Look, the food pictures gonna keep coming. I love it.
Okay, maybe that's what gave me the heart attack is looking at your damn food photos. All that
so crazy. They come up with new things every time.
Where are you finding these? Is it the same like group pages or websites or what?
Yeah, those Facebook algorithms. They know what I like.
Yep. Yeah. Once you start picking one, boom, it keeps going, bro. So holy shit. But make sure you're following me all over the socials. Evan J. Thomas on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are ND Nation on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. WeAreNDNation.com. You can check out this podcast or any of the previous ones and make fun of us. Just go to YouTube. Just go to We Are ND Nation. Or Badass Productions is actually where it's at. But that's my company name. So, another week in the books. We're 4-1. Hopefully going to get a win at Virginia Tech. And any last words, Malik?
I think if anything, let's just stay confident, fans. Let's not get too hard on our guys. Let's be like a quarterback even keel. Y'all know this was a transition year, so the expectations got to be a little different. That's all.
All right. So, like I said, make sure you're following us all over the place. Until next week, for Malik Zaire, I'm Evan J. Thomas. You know what we got to say. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Let's get it.
Rock on, man.
Here come the Irish.
WeAreNDNation.com is where you can go to get all your latest Notre Dame news, notes, and highlights on the season.
Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Featuring the new We Are ND Nation podcast hosted by me, Evan J. Thomas, and special guests throughout the season.
No one comes into our house and pushes us around.
Make sure you check out the Tailgaters Show, the travels of Rudy the Golden Gnome, and more. Follow We Are ND Nation on the socials, wearenddnation.com.